Hello and welcome to the MNET midweek webinar series. We have the convener of MNET with us, Renu Dotre. Over to you, Renu ma'am.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to everyone. My warm welcome to the speaker, Mr. Gopal Nayak, and all the educators who have gathered from different parts of India and different corners of the world. Your participation ignites me always and motivates us to push better working. And it is this binding uh, of all the passion that we have, a common passion to bring about effectiveness, to bring effective teachers and educators and researchers, scholars together who constantly try to upgrade themselves as a language teacher. And moreover, it's great to have a fraternity of teachers in India and abroad who are always ready to collaborate and share the ideas, experiences, knowledge, and best expertise to help build this community of practice. I thank the speaker, Mr. Gopal Nayak, who at one call agreed for the workshop. So without wasting much time, let me introduce the speaker and the topic for today's talk. Emotional intelligence implications for the teachers. As you know, EI is the ability to understand and manage our emotions and those around us. People who have high degree of emotional intelligence know what they feel, what the emotion means, and how these emotions can affect other people. This session briefly introduces emotional intelligence and highlights its implications on the teacher. And to talk about emotional intelligence, we have with us Dr. Gopal Nayak. He was not ready to give his introduction at all, but I have got a bit of it. So Dr. Gopal Chandra Nayak teaches language and literature to MA English students and action research and communication skills to the participants of postgraduate certificate in teaching English along with conducting training sessions in the continuous professional development program and other need-based training programs conducted by the Regional Institute of English Chandigarh. His research interests are social emotional learning, emotional intelligence, and teacher education. I request Dr. Gopal to take over. Now the entire Zoom platform is for you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Renuji. And thank you all participants who have joined this webinar and also who are watching us live on YouTube and Facebook. I welcome you all to the webinar. I hope this will generate some ideas on emotional intelligence. And, so what we are going to do in this webinar is we are briefly going to, as Renuji has already talked about, we are going to briefly introduce ourselves, about what is emotional intelligence, and then mostly we are going to look at its implication. And as you all know, we are going through a very difficult time. The COVID-19 is very difficult for all of us, and we hope we will have a better time soon. And at this time, the emotional intelligence becomes more relevant, though it is always relevant in the classroom, and it is well recognized and voiced in all the educational commissions and committees in the recommendations report by different policies. So we are going to talk about it, and probably it will be useful and generate some thoughts on the topic. So let me share the screen, my presentation with you all. And I think you can put your question in the chat box, which we can take after the presentation. Okay. So at the beginning, we would like to watch two videos, movie clips. Let us watch these two clips. This is I'll go to share screen. From there, I'll be able to. Okay. Please let me know if the sound is there and you are able to see it. Is it clear to all of you?
Sound is clear, sir. You can just make it full screen.
Okay. But sound is clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, now, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, now let us watch another clip. Is it visible? Hello, Nadim ji.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible, the second clip?
No, no, you have to select that window, sir. You have to stop share and select the window of browser.
Okay, fine. Come back. Come back to the presentation. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Fine.
You,
So I hope you enjoyed both the clips.
yes.
Let us have some questions on the clips that we watched now. I think all of us must have similar experience as learners. On I think maybe the experience resembling to the first video clip. We can say it class one, and the second video clip we can say class two. So we must have similar experience in our childhood days. So let us have some questions which will be helping us to look at the question, look at the classroom, uh, uh, in respect of emotional intelligence. So I would like to have some questions. You can think about it. What is the emotions that you see, which is in work, in the classroom, an emotion of the teacher? What are the emotions of the teacher of class A and class B? Let us have some kind of comparison. You can have your answers, as we may not interact a lot here in this platform, but you can put your question and comments in the chat box. We'll see it later on. So I would like you to notice, or I would like you to reflect on the emotions which were on work in the classroom, the teacher's emotions, and the students' emotions. What is the mood or the emotions of the students? What is the emotion of the differently abled student who is called Isant there, right? And what is the quality of students' participation in the classroom? In which class do you find the students are more, eager to learn, more, attentive? They are happily listening to the teacher what is saying. In which class do you see that? Is there joyful learning in one class or in both the classes? Your comment on that. Learning with happiness. Which class is addressing the multiple intelligences and promoting creativity? Is it class A or class B? Which class is more inclusive? Inclusive in the sense it is addressing the different needs of the classroom. It is accepting the students as they are, the uniqueness of the students. Despite their abilities, their backgrounds, their intelligence, uh, all these things. And do you see empathy in the class? Which class is more empathetic? And how do you notice that? Do you notice the voice of the teacher, the tone, the body language, the message which is communicated both through the language used by the teacher, and also the paralinguistic features which we term body language. uh, which class is more respectful, and which is more accepting. Where do you find acceptance and respect? In which class do you find these qualities, which are very very essential for promoting social and emotional learning or emotional intelligence? Which class is more inspiring? uh, you know where do the students find a lot of inspiration from the teacher? Which class is celebrating the imperfection of the people, citing different examples of great persons who were also differently abled, who were also not according to the societal terms perfect, and are the examples inspiring the students who are there? You can notice many other qualities. I'm leaving there. So now I would like to briefly introduce what is emotional intelligence. Let us look at the definition. Are you able to hear?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So because I'm not able to see anyone or get your feedback, so that's why I'm checking. Right. So you can let me know if there is any disturbance and problem. Okay, Renuji, you can let me know when there is
Yes, yes,
problem
sir.
either
Yes,
in
sir.
my voice or in the screen visibility.
Yes, yes.
Right.
I'll let you.
So right. So what is EI? Let us look at it. The ability to understand one's own and others' emotions and use the knowledge as guide to thinking and behavior. That is, individual high in emotional intelligence pay attention to, please make note of these terms, pay attention to, use, understand, and manage emotions. And these skills serve adaptive functions that potentially benefit themselves and others. So, these are the people. We are not going very deep into the theories of emotional intelligence because there are a lot of debates and criticism on between the different models of AI, which can be beneficial for researchers. And here we are more focused on the implication. That's why I'm not discussing the debates and the nuances of differences between the models of AI. But here I would like to draw your attention to these terms, these phrases. Pay attention to, use, understand, and manage emotions. In this model, they have these four parts which are important as far as the AI theory is concerned. So the people who are high in intelligence pay attention to use, understand, and manage emotions. And these skills, what have, how are they beneficial? Because these skills are beneficial for themselves and for others who are around them, or who are, participants in any social context. Then there is another model, Goldman's competencies model of EI, which has five components, but the five components have been put for convenience into in this, quadrants, four parts. And what are these four parts? This has to do with the self and the other. So self-awareness, and self-awareness, you have self-management. You become, you know your emotions that we feel at different point of time, which get triggered by different, social context, different stimuli in our day-to-day life. And the first part is, we become aware of that. Suppose, I am angry, and then I know that I am angry. I'm kind, and I have the feeling of sadness, and I feel happy, and I know that I am happy. And this is self-awareness. And then with this self-awareness, I manage myself, manage your emotion, and motivate yourself. Because as there are both positive and negative emotions, uh, it is important to manage the negative emotions and motivate ourselves in difficult times. As during the COVID time, we have this kind of difficult, time for all of us, for the students, for the teachers, the online teaching, the burden of online teaching material, who are never, familiar with the online teaching, and many more. Because people are, they don't have any option rather to be locked, into their rooms. And then, after the self-awareness, then we move to the social awareness. This is recognizing other emotions, because we are not alone on the planet. Had we be alone, then there is no need of the other. So when we are more than one person, requires the, awareness of the other. So it is self-awareness and also the awareness of others. And then once I know what others emotions are, with whom I am dealing. Maybe it is the classroom, the students, maybe it is the workplace, maybe it is any kind of social circle. So I become reflective, I become aware of my own emotions, and also I know the others emotions. And this leads to proper management of the emotion, and leads to, good relationship among them. So I think it is clear. So should we move to the next slide? You can have your question. If there is any problem, we can come back to the slide. Okay. Now the question come after knowing what is emotional intelligence. We discussed only the two models, Goldman and the other model developed. Now, what is more important is that why are we discussing the emotional intelligence? Why is it important? Is it required for teachers? Is it required for students? Should we develop it? What will be the problem if we become ignorant about the EI, or the social emotional intelligence? Why education need to address EI? Let us look at it. It is a report. I looked at the National Crime Records Bureau. Every hour, one student, commits suicide in India, and the number will be very, very alarming if you look at the world record, and that is available. Those of you who'd like to look at it, I think it is some 600 million people. They are suffering from depression and other kinds of mental health problems, and 28 suicides. This is every day. So the number is 10,158 in 2018 report, by which is compiled by National Crime Record Bureau. Then, recognizing and addressing mental health needs of young people help them function better socially, academically, and vocationally, and develop into well-adjusted and productive adults. So this is the mental health status, and this is by WHO. This is report. This is 2017 report, which is prepared, and this is about this is the findings. So they are acknowledging that if we are addressing mental health needs of the young people, this is 15 to 29. They've bracketed it. The study is done under, within the age group of 15 to 29, and it found that if we address their mental health, then it leads to they function socially better, academically they perform well, vocationally, and it develop into a well-adjusted and productive, adult. Then, if you have looked at the different education commission, different policies and recommendations, national policies, you find that they have expressed the views, and also they have expressed the views that holistic development of the child is the goal of education. Also, the different philosopher, while defining education, they have expressed that it is the holistic development which is the goal of all kinds of education, and not only the more than 90% objective that most of us as parents and teachers aim at. Uh, Right. Then students must develop not only cognitive skills but also social and emotional skills. This is if the draft 2019 education policy says that they have recognized here in this new education policy which is yet to come. The draft has mentioned categorically that it is not only to develop students cognitive in their cognitive aspects, but also we need to pay attention to the social and emotional skills. And here I would like to say that we are not ignoring the cognitive skills of the child, but if we pay attention to the social and emotional needs and skills of the children, then this will be complementary and the child will do better in their cognitive skills. So these two skills should not be viewed and should not be looked at or addressed in the classroom as separate skills which does not have anything to do with each other. Rather, they are complementary. If you promote social and emotional skills, they will be able to perform cognitively better. Okay, the next point is the teacher and the child have lost the sense of joy in being involved in an educational process. This is a report which is submitted in 1993 by under the title Learning Without Burden. This is also called the Yashwal Committee report on education. They say that uh, the any process of learning should be joyful. How long can we learn if we don't enjoy, right? As teachers also, if we don't enjoy teaching, or if we do not enjoy any act, any work, how long can we continue? So here they have expressed that in the Indian classroom, the joy of learning has disappeared. Next point is recognizing and addressing mental health needs of young people help them function better socially, academically, and vocationally, and develop into well. We have covered this. Then this is a website, Monodarpan, which is launched yesterday on 21st July by the MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. And this is for helping the students in their psychological needs and promoting mental health. And this is in the time of COVID outbreak, and also it says beyond. So it is going to have more features and more help. So what they have done in the website, I attended the launch of the program. So they have said, or it is there that they have brought the psychologists, the parents, the teachers together, and this website is for helping students who need help, uh, academic help, and any other kind of help. This is also, there is also some helpline number, so if a student need help, they can call, and there are counselors, there are doctors, there are teachers, there are other medical professionals, and there are other people who are ready to help the students in their own place. So why I have mentioned it, because it is recognizing the need of addressing the mental health and also the well-being and the all-round growth and development of the child, which education cannot afford to ignore. And only education cannot only sharpen the cognitive skills of the learners. That, I think, if that is the uh, objective, then any robot or any machine can probably do in future. But what about the human part of human being? Human being is not only a cognitive being. We have also affective aspects. So that aspects also need to be addressed by education. Look at this report. This kind of, I think this will study yourself. I think this will be helpful for you. This is 2007 report on India, and look at the percentage of people who are students. This is based on the students only, student data, and the age is 15 to 29 years. And look at the percentage of students who are depressed, the percentage of students who are distracted, anxiety, and loneliness, and had no close friends. So look at this. These data tells us that this is very urgent that we integrate social emotional learning in our teaching. We can teach EI or SEL, social emotional learning, separately. Also, we can, what is most important, that what we can do is we can integrate it while covering our own syllabus and teachings. That we'll see little later. Now the question is, if it is the case, then how we are going to promote and address the social emotional learning, or EI? Recognizing, first point is that we need to recognize, we need to pay attention to the importance of SEL in educational planning and implementation. For example, while we are designing curriculum for our learners, we need to give scope for SEL learning. We should design the syllabus in such a way that there is opportunities for the students and the teachers to be engaged in the social emotional learning. It could also be integrated in the classroom activity, whatever activity we are giving to the students. We should design it in such a way that the social emotional learning is addressed, the emotional intelligence is addressed. Also, it could be integrated in the assessment. We need to see how we are going to do it, but the assessment should be for learning, assessment for learning, and not assessment of learning. So, when we are assessing the students, we should be very careful towards being very, very judgmental on the skill. We should not assess the students and should not give the students such feedback which will bring down the confidence level, and they will not try further. So, from the planning level to the implementation level, we can integrate, and it is a possibility. It is a possibility that we can integrate SEL in our education system. Next point is, we should set goals for the students which are achievable, uh, both in the long term and in the short term goal. Because if we set goal, we should let the learner feel that they are able to do certain things. So depending on the level of the learners, they should be given different tasks, which where they can sense the sense of accomplishment. They should, and this will promote their confidence. This will help them to learn further. There should be opportunities for self-paced learning. This will take time, but we can do it in this online teaching and learning. There are, I think, there are opportunities where we can learn in our own way. But in India, also, I think Swayam and other platform is helping learners to learn in their own way. In our own teaching and learning, in our own institute also, whether it is face-to-face, blended or online, we can always have opportunities for self-paced learning, varied questions, where we can start from the factual questions to inferential, judgmental, evaluative, and many other questions which might be based on the Bloom's or revised Bloom's taxonomy. It could be open-ended. It could be guided to open-ended. So what with this kind of an approach, what we are doing, we are able to address the different learner, the learner whose ability are different. Suppose there is a slow learner and who need more time, can be given guided question, can be given, can we can start with the factual question, rather than giving one type of questions for everyone and one type of feedback for everyone. Then it is not only for assessment purpose, but also while giving them inputs, while giving them suggested readings, we can have this kind of varied approach which will address the different needs of the students. There is a very intelligent boy who is learning very quickly, can he has something to learn. And there is a boy who is learning very slowly. He is also he will also have his own material which will be provided by the teacher. This demands a little creativity from the teachers, but it is, I see it is a possibility in the classroom. We can do that. Then we can promote reflection in self assessment and peer assessment and learner autonomy in our classroom. So if and all these things which we are discussing, this at the heart of all this kind of educational pedagogical approach, there is what is integrated is their social emotional learning and emotional intelligence, what we discussed very briefly. This kind of an educational approach is very alive and addressing the social emotional learning and or emotional intelligence of the learner. So what will happen? We will move towards self-assessment. We will move towards reflection, because it will help us. If there is some problem and if I am able to reflect, if I can reflect and find out my plus point and the areas for improvement, then that will be telling me what to do and how to motivate myself and how to proceed in the educational journey. There could also be peer assessment. We can guide the peer. There are different ability learner which can help each other if we set our educational agenda in that way. Okay, and learner autonomy, I think it is clear. This is tell me, there is this Chinese proverb, don't give me a fish, rather tell me how to fish. So it is learning about learning. Tell me how to learn. It is not that my teacher should be there all the time available to teach me, but from the very beginning, I should be trained how to learn myself. How can I be autonomous in the process of learning, or maybe in the process of solving the life's problem, the life skills, which are required.
So, the slides are not visible. Visible in the
Hello, ha
sense,
ha,
uh,
Renuji, ha.
the slides are very blur. So, can you stop
Okay,
sharing and you can, that last scroll was there, video and audio. You had to check boxes.
okay, I'll stop
Uh,
sharing and then
remove
uh,
those tick marks of
uh,
that
from
tick mark na, optimize. video sharing and that computer last.
Okay, okay, right, right,
uh,
right. So I unchecked it.
uh, and
Fine.
then again share.
I can share. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Hmm.
Is it clear now?
Yes, it's clear.
Fine. Okay, so another point I would like to uh, bring to your notice is practicing active listening. In the classroom, you often see the maybe it is the change is happening slowly. We are maximizing the students' talk and minimizing the teachers' talk these days, and it is true for people who have got some kind of training. But in the traditional classroom, it is often noticed that the teacher is talking all the time and the students are passive receiver. And it is not only for getting the educational input. Active listening is not only helpful in case of getting the information, but also there are other functions which are performed when we listen someone very carefully. That it improves the interpersonal skills, and as we are discussing SEL here, and our listening should not be for replying, but it should be for comprehending the information in a very non-judgmental, open way. So it is helpful. Listening can be therapeutic. You can listen away someone's problem. So when the students are going through difficult times, when they have some problem, whether it is academic related to the academic burden, or it could be any personal problem, or any other problem, you just practice it, try it, and you'll see there will be wonderful results. You can also do some research on looking at it. Can listening be therapeutic? Can listening take away the problem? And the counselors, they do it. They just listen to people very, very carefully. So we can all try, and there if you are interested, we can have many resources on this. There are a lot of research which is how to do in this area, how to do active listening, and what are the different steps, and also research which are showing that it works. Right. Then second point is communicating with parents. Sometime you might feel that there are large classroom with so many students and doing these things is a problem. So you can involve their parents. So it should not be the only responsibility of the teachers. Rather, the parents can be partnered. The teacher and the parent both are there together in the process of educating the child. So why not bring the parents in the process of educating the child? Let us share the responsibility, and this could be a help. Some in some I think in some school where we were going for in one Kendriya Vidyalaya school, where we were going for our practice teaching in EFLU Hyderabad. There I read one line which is relevant, I think, in this point, uh, which says, school should be a place where the children should forget their homes, and home should be a place where the children will recall their school. So this talk about the bridge between school and home, the parents and the teachers. Let us move to the next point. Uh, the addressing multiple intelligences of the learner. Right. This when as you all saw in the clip, you see the teacher is saying that you go out and try whatever comes to your mind and whatever you find doing, whatever you feel like doing with anything. You can create poetry, you can design some model, you can sing a song. So we can see if we can be reflective here. When I'm going to a classroom with the lesson prepared, is my lesson addressing the multiple intelligences of the learner? Am I helping the learner to proceed in his own in his own area of expertise? At the initial level, probably this is not very clear. We are still discovering what the child is good at. In some cases, it is very prominent from the very beginning, but in some cases, it becomes prominent little later on. So that's why it is important, and you know how Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory, and I think the intrapersonal and interpersonal skills are also linked with EI and SEL. So if we are going to look at the roots of emotional intelligence theory and all, many people have found the traces in Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory. So we should try our best to provide and address the multiple intelligences of the learner, not only in teaching, in giving the inputs and giving exposure, but also accepting their responses in terms of assessment, assignment, and any response that we want from them. Suppose I give them a assignment. Why should I have one kind of format which is acceptable? Though in present time we have probably not evolved a system which will try to accept all kinds of uh, responses in the national test, or the kind of test we are doing. We need to think about, we have not yet moved to that kind of creativity in the assessment part, but slowly it is being introduced, the open book and all. This is the beginning, but at least in our classroom assignment and grading and all, we can accept the different way of expressing or responding to our question. If I give them a task and if a child would like to write a poetry on that, it is wonderful. If someone would like to write a short story, it is also, it should be encouraged. If someone would like to have some kind of performance, that is also acceptable. Someone like to write very creatively in creative report, that is also accepted. So my and here the implication for teachers are that our assignment and the question should be such that it allows or scope, or it has it allows different kind of responses from the students. Then appreciating students participation and the process of learning. Not we should not have the product approach to education or any skill teaching. Those of you who have done the LSRW, you know about the product approach and the process approach of teaching these skills. In the While we are doing any kind of activity, what is more important is the students' participation in the process of learning. We should not only appreciate those students who succeed and who score good marks. Why, as parents and as teachers, we should always be encouraging. We should be very very careful, even indirectly. Are we only accepting good results? Are we only accepting good performance? This is, if a student is also failing, it is also an indication that he tried. If when someone will fail, when he will try. So why not appreciate and award the students participation and the process of learning? So we should think about it, how we are let the child enjoy the process of learning here. Then encouraging cooperative learning, peer and group learning. Students learn better from each other than the teacher. So the teacher is not the only person in the classroom as the source of knowledge. Rather, the approach to education should be co-constructed. Knowledge should be co-constructed, as the NCEFT 2009 report says. We should move towards the co-construction of knowledge. I should be creating a learning space in my classroom where the students can bring their experiences and learn from each other. I should be a person who should be able to create a conducive atmosphere where everybody is willing to contribute to the learning space, and learn from there. They are, and once you do that, they will be very creative, as evidenced in the movie that whose clip we saw a little while ago. We should often ask these questions in the different stages of our educational, from the planning stage to the implementation stage, or most importantly in our communication with our students while giving feedback, or this is also relevant when we are communicating with our children, own sons and daughters. Let us look at it. Do my messages convey and teach respect? Am I modeling respect? If I say something to my child or to my students, they probably will not be able to get it. But if I model it, if I do it, then probably the message will be very clear, and they will see a role model where they can learn from whom they can learn. So it is always better to role model. If I want respect in the classroom, if I want my students to be well behaved, if I want my students to do something in certain way, let me model it. I may not say it directly, explicitly, because if the children are at the initial stages, when the class is maybe nursery or primary, the abstract processing may not be so well. So they may not be able to process what you say, but definitely they will imitate what you do in the classroom. So what I do, what I say in my classroom, that is something which we could be reflective about. Second point, am I fostering realistic expectations in my students? I should check, do I have set expectations for everyone, where and it will lead to frustrations, it will lead to diffidence, it will lead to low self-esteem. If I have set some kind of expectations where the child is not able to fulfill. So it is always good to have realistic expectations for the children. Am I helping my students to learn how to solve problems? Because solving problem is something which is needed when I go out of my classroom. When my students will pass the exam scoring 90% mark, and if they have not got the skills to solve problems, the real problems, or when they will be adults, then probably we have failed the students in mastering and acquiring the relevant skills to function in the real life world. So education should be such where I think it is something which all of us know, where we need to address those skills which are important once somebody go out of the classroom. Am I teaching empathy and compassion? What I do in the classroom or outside the classroom, what I say, how my body language, my tone, all we need to check, we need to reflect. And I think there are a lot of things, a lot of research which are available to in the reflective practice teaching, or you can also have different action research on this area. So we need to check if I am empathetic. If someone is reporting a problem, am I validating it, or just brushing it aside because I am in a different mood, and the person is a different mood. My student is suffering from some problem, but I am in a very very joyous and happy mood. So am I doing that in my ignorance? Am I listening openly in a non-judgmental way? Am I open to what the person is saying and validating it? That is something which we need to check. Am I promoting self-discipline and self-control? Am I setting limits in ways that permit my students to learn from me rather than resent me? This point also we need to check whether the limits which I am setting, it is helping my students to learn from me rather than resent me. You might find a lot of resentment in the classroom when you give some kind of task, some kind of activity, some kind of deadline. So we need to check, are they learning from me or they are resenting me, and what could be the reason for that? Is it because of I have set some limits which are very very difficult? We need to be reflective about it. Am I truly listening to and validating what my students are saying? I think we have covered this point. Do my students know that I value their input? When the students are saying something in the classroom, I think that clip I did not show you when the differently able child in the movie That Is Zamin Par uh, asked by the teacher, please interpret these lines of the poetry. Probably, if you have seen, you will be able to recall what I am trying to hint at. That he interprets it in a very way, but it is not acknowledged that that's the right interpretation by Nishan. And someone else who have some kind of some kind of, he had got it by heart and presenting it is appreciated in the classroom. So I need to have an approach where I'm open to the inputs which are coming from the students. Uh, it should not, I should not ignore those inputs. It might appear on the surface something insignificant, but I should value all inputs which are coming from my students. Am I helping my students to appreciate that mistakes are part of the process of learning? It is what these points which we are discussing, these are not something which we need to just say in the classroom. Rather, we need to practice it, and this might take some time. This may not be part of our pedagogical process. Practice for this, so that it becomes a part of our teaching learning process. And the last point is, am I comfortable in acknowledging my own mistakes and apologizing for them? We can ask ourselves these questions. How often or when in my classroom I said I don't know, or I said this is my mistake? I think you can think about it. Am I comfortable as a teacher, as a parent, in acknowledging that here I'm not right, and we apologize for them? So all these things, all these practices, these promote social emotional learning, trust, and emotional intelligence among our students and children. These are some websites for more information on social emotional learning. This is Castle. You can look at it for more inputs, more resources. You can view yourself. Then there is Monodarpan, which is developing. It is just launched yesterday by MNET.
Gopal sir,
Huh.
the screen is not seen and the resource also not seen. Can you put those links in the chat
Chart
box?
box. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm
Yeah, we are
I'm
sending the feedback form. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
this
done.
reference also not seen.
Yeah, these are the references. Are you able to see it now?
No, no, it's looking blur.
Blurred. Maybe it is due to the internet, or some kind of problem. Okay, I'm done. I can share these resources and references now. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to discuss it.
So in the chat box here, I did not get any questions. There was a lot of appreciation. I asked,
Okay.
I request Nadeem sir to give questions from the.
Yeah, Anita Thakur has raised her hand,
Just a
and
second. Let me go to the Zoom. I'm not able to
Oh,
get
you're
the
in the
Zoom.
Zoom. Stop
No,
sharing
no,
from.
I'm not able to see the screen. Okay, stop sharing. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So here, yes, here I'm able to say it. Yeah. If you can, highlight the question because I was not looking at the questions. So if anyone can help or the participant can directly ask questions, whichever way you feel good, Renuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there are any questions, you can raise your hands, all the participants here in Zoom. And okay,
Yes.
Shine in Social.
Ah.
You can go ahead and ask your question. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
Super. Gopal, sir, I think.
Gopal. Yeah.
So, fine session, sir. A fine session. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Actually, I learned a lot from you. But here, there isn't a doubt to me, sir.
Please.
What is the difference in between critical thinking and creative thinking? Is it a life skill?
Okay, I think it is something which is not directly linked to our presentation, but I will still try to answer your question. Critical thinking and creative
Creative.
thinking,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? It is, critical thinking where you are able to examine your own viewpoint, your own assumption. Right. Suppose I do something, I say something, and the next point I become reflective about that, and I'm able to examine as I am able to find, fault or problems in somebody else's assumption. Likewise, am I able to examine my assumptions? So this is one crucial aspect of critical thinking, right? And also, I'm ready to accept multiple views, which you probably find a fine demonstration in plays, right? If you like to teach critical thinking, plays are very very important, where you find the same arguments and very very valid arguments from the different characters. Any play, for example, you take up Lear, King Lear. Here we are, I am also bringing in the literature and language bridge, from that how literature could be used for language development. So critical thinking is where I am able to examine the plurality, the many views, or not one linear way of looking at things and trying to understand that yes, this is what it is. At the same time, I am also able to see my view as somebody else's view. So I look at my view as somebody else's view. So I'm a person who is also able to critique my own view. So this is something which is critical thinking. Creative thinking is something which is thinking in a different way. Different way, what I mean by different way, different way means which is not probably, it is not thought before, or that kind of link has been not established before. If you look at the movie also, Tare Zameen Par, the kind of model that Nishant creates, it is something which is creative. So these are creative thinking. This is the difference between creative thinking and critical thinking. I
I
think
think
I
both will help. I
both
think
both
both will
both
help
are
in our classroom situations.
yes, both are required, and this
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
linked with SEL. This is
yeah.
one thing. What I don't know who is the person who has talked about it. Uh, this is education is something where you are able to see connection, right? There are
Yeah,
different
yeah.
parts of different things in life, and we are able to see the connection and create something, right? So the more you read, the more your exposure is, you are able to connect to different things which appear disconnected in the beginning. So the more connection you can bring, the more meaning you can bring, and the more something which appeared on the surface useless, you can make use of that, and that's something innovation. That's something which is creation. That's something which is critical thinking.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is one question from YouTube by Biswa Panda. How can the SWOT analysis, like the knowing your strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats,
Hmm.
how can the SWOT analysis help us understand other emotions?
Somebody else's emotion, right? Fine. How can the SWOT analysis help somebody else's emotion? See, yeah, good question here. That here, what he is trying to, I can understand where the question is coming from. That he said that yes, I know my strengths and weaknesses, because probably if I am a critical thinker, as sir rightly pointed out, that I will be able to see my weaknesses and my strengths. But how to know someone else's weakness and someone else strength? For that I need to know the person first. Otherwise, that there are, I think there are many tests which are also developed for this ACL and testing emotional intelligence. But without knowing someone, it is very difficult to come to an understanding of what the person's strengths and weaknesses are. I may be wrong in when I say that this is his strengths or weakness. So for that, I need to spend some time, and if it is students, then you know the students' strengths and weaknesses. So once you interact with them and you give different tasks, and then only you will be able to know. There, I think there are not any other way. If there are any, then you can let me know. I will learn from you. Thank you. That's a good question. So this is,
Yeah,
the more we know, the more we will discover. So it is a process. Even even our own strengths and weaknesses, we cannot say the final word, which appeared as my strengths, that could be converted into my weakness, or that can become my weakness, and my weakness could be my greatest point, which I can build on. Thank you.
yeah,
Did I
thank you
answer
very
your
much.
question, or are you expecting
Yeah,
something
there
else?
is one more question from
Yeah,
YouTube.
please. Hmm.
How will you deal with the student who is emotionally attached with former teacher and not ready to accept new teacher?
Okay, so it is good thing. Again, emotional intelligence is something which will let you know that why I am attached to that student, that teacher, and why I'm not attached to the new teacher. So here the role of the new teacher is something which is very important here in educating the child, that how he can be a very resourceful person, who can help the child in realizing his or her own potential. So it is also understanding emotional intelligence also help you to understand the practical thing. It is understanding your emotions and also managing it. So if I am attached to my former teacher, I need to understand how I need to manage my emotion and move forward to the new teacher.
Sir,
Yes.
now students are under depression, means emotionally under depression they because of this COVID situation.
Hmm.
So online classes are now going on. That burden also they have. So
Right.
being a teacher, what we can do to take out from that depression, like?
Okay. First of all, if we recognize any symptoms, that's why this I would like you. I will suggest you to look at the website which is launched yesterday, the Monodarpan. That is for that purpose. The website is created for the purpose of helping students and teachers, parents, for the psychological support which they require. So first point is that it is great if you are able to notice the symptom that someone needs help. This is point one. Point two, there are different kind of help people require. If it is a severe case, then you will probably take the child to a doctor, a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Or if it is only for a mild symptom you see for a week or so, then probably you can help the child yourself by educating yourself. First you need to be sensitive. You need to be aware that there is a problem, because many times as teachers and parents, we don't recognize if there is a problem with the child or with the student. So point number one is to validate what the student is saying. And if the student is saying that I'm going through a problem, it is great. He is able to reflect that he has a problem. So either he says it, or you, without saying, you notice it, your role as a teacher, as a parent, to help the child, be non-judgmental and provide help. Not, let us not make it a taboo. I think you must have seen many many people every day. You look at the newspaper, there are cases of suicide, depression. So
Yeah.
it is every day. So it is the need of the hour that as teachers we recognize and try to bring it into the classroom. We cannot say that we are here to teach mathematics and good language skills and grammar and all kinds of things. What will it be useful if someone is suffering from some problem? Yeah, will it be meaningful if someone have some kind of mental problem? All these things will be meaningless if someone health is not fine, and if someone is not mentally and physically fine. The education need to be questioned, right? So you need to provide help, and the help, there are different kinds of help depending on the situation of the child. You can help at the level of counseling if it is only just some kind of low feeling which is for a week. But if the low feeling or kind of aloofness is for around 2 weeks, then it requires intervention. If you feel confident, please provide help, or else take the child to a professional.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Please look at the website Monodarpan, MHRD.
Mr.
Mono.
Sir, I have a question for you.
Please.
Uh, okay. We have two entities like emotional intelligence and then IQ.
Right.
And since we are in this field of teaching, we have many challenges that we come across, especially with regards to the young minds that we train here. Like which aspect can be focused upon more upon these children, to make or to create a successful citizens or successful students, like
Right.
IQ or EQ, which one is more you know
Important. Correct.
important to be a successful person?
Right. So here there are many researchers which have agreed that IQ, though there are disputes and there are different opinion, IQ is something which is a gift, which we cannot alter a lot. This is, I think, Daniel Goldman also in his book, 1995 book Emotional Intelligence. He has mentioned this is a genetic gift which is given to you. You cannot do much about it. But there are other researchers which also disputes this kind of a claim. So what we cannot do, we should not be worried about it. And I believe God has given everyone the necessary IQ. So what we can do, the good news about EI or emotional intelligence is that the research in neuroplasticity or the brain research which have revealed that EQ can be learned, it can be acquired at different stages of our life. If I realize that my emotional intelligence is not very good, I can learn about it. So as teachers, what we can do to answer your question, both are important for a successful life. But we cannot, as teachers, we cannot do a lot of things about IQ. So we can sharpen it. So it is both are important, and both should be complementary to each other. Do not treat SEL throughout your academic life, ignoring the syllabus and other things. Rather, it should be integrated. For example, if I am teaching them grammar, let me find ways how I can integrate SEL in my grammar lesson. I am teaching them writing skills. I am teaching them summary writing. I am teaching them speaking skills. For example, speaking skill. If in speaking skill I ask them, please go and interview your grandfather or grandmother, and to build empathy, right? Empathy, interview them and try to present their life. In one class, you can ask them, try to do role play. You can, in one day, you can become your friend, not you. So that there are different kind of lessons which we can design for promoting SEL, emotional intelligence, and at the same time covering the syllabus in time. I'm not saying that that's demands the creativity of the teacher, how to address your syllabus, the cover the syllabus portion, at the same time teach them SEL and EI. It is integrating. It is not something which is treating separately, right? So EQ and IQ are, both are necessary for successful life. Again, there are subjective opinion what you call as successful. Someone could be very successful academically, but he may not be successful in other fields, right? So what is your own opinion of success is something which matters. That's why this many people have said. And yesterday I was listening to the psychologists who are very instrumental in developing this monodarpan website. He said that the goal of education is not to score 90% plus marks in exam, which you say all the coaching centers, parents, and all of us, we are behind the 90% plus mark. We are celebrating in Facebook and in different social sites the success of our children if they are more than 90% plus. But what about those children who have not scored that percentage of mark, or who have failed? They need our support more, and that is something which is important. Let us, failure is not something which is permanent, and success is also not something which is permanent. A person who has failed in life can do wonders. And I'm often reminded of this example which comes very very quickly to my mind, is Pygmalions, Elijah Doolittle. If you have read it, you will know this is a flower girl which is taken, and Professor Higgins trains her, and she become a duchess. Nobody could identify her. So Bernard Shaw has demonstrated that how a person's is not destined to live a life which he is born with. He can change his life through his self determination and will. So this is motivation. This is motivating, inspiring our children with different stories. As you saw an example in case of Amir Khan, there is giving example of Einstein and who is the other person,
Hello.
Abhishek Bachchan, right? So they have done very well, right?
Yeah. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, sir. We have Milind
That's
Dhotre
nice,
sir
sir.
with
That's
us.
nice. Thank
He
you so
has one
much
question.
for the kind information.
Good afternoon, Dr. Gopal. This is Mrs. Sarayu. I'm speaking to you from the United Arab Emirates.
Okay,
Uh,
please.
Session, thank you for that. I have a small question to ask. We deal with a lot of students who are coming under the special students category, that is the SEN category as we call them.
Could you be a little more clear and louder? I'm not able to hear you very very clearly.
Students who come in the SEN category, the special education needs category,
Yes, yeah.
or the gifted and talented category.
Hmm.
Okay, so to develop the emotional intelligence or the in these kind of children, the teachers have a major role in that. Of course,
Right.
a senko and a social worker, etc. But
Hmm.
I feel the teacher plays a major part in motivating these students.
Right.
So with this class strength of say 30 or 40 students,
Hmm.
how is it really possible to work with only these children separately to help them create these kinds of emotional intelligence and those other kind of artifacts that are required?
Right. Yes, there. I agree with you. This is very difficult. If the situation is like that, it will be very difficult for one teacher to cater to the special needs of the children, and that's why probably in special schools, or there are we need more teachers, more trained teachers, and there are different kind of support system we need, because they need more help than other normal child. They, if the children are differently abled and there are more in numbers in the classroom, probably you need to have either small group of students, or you need to devote more time to, you need to have more time for them. I am not saying that there is any secret, there is any very quick or easy way of educating or bringing any change, because positive change, it takes time. Yeah, and you have to be very, very patient. If the student is differently able and learning slowly, then as demonstrated in the movie, right? The other teachers, they are frustrated. They are not able to understand the problem the child is going through. So a teacher who is, listening to the child and understanding the problem, diagnosing the problem and trying to apply what will work. So I completely agree with you. This require effort, this require time, and this require more staff, trained staff. So or else you need to devote more time. That depends on how what is the level of what is the level of that kind of deficiency, if I can call that, or the different ability of which the child is endowed with.
Hello.
Sir, thank you
Uh,
so much.
Hello. There is one question. Due to COVID-19, most of the schools are going online, and students are sitting from morning 7 o'clock to say 1 o'clock. Sir, should the department bring a time limit for going online and time to be specified, like they should grasp in so much knowledge in
Hmm.
that specific time? So, can you enlighten on this, sir?
Right. So as far as the departmental decisions are concerned, I think we cannot do much about it, because there are certain things which are beyond our control. You agree?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. And there are certain things which we can do as teachers. That's why if you take note of the presentation, where while we were doing, we should have scope for scope or space for children, where we don't have one kind of expectations from everyone. Then everyone will be submitting this assignment of 2000 words by the midnight. That kind of a dictation should not be there. Let me little bit flexible. Let me give a time, maybe from 10 to 15. Maybe you give them a week time, so anybody can submit in their own space. This is one thing. Second thing, let us create opportunities for learner where they can learn at their own space and whatever amount that they can learn. Even if we force them learn this, they will not learn. What will you do? and
Yes.
and that's why learning is not equal to teaching is not equal to learning, as the behaviorists they were trying to do. Right, they were trying to put the human learning with animal learning, and they were saying that input equal to output.
Yes, sir.
हम जो पढ़ाएंगे स्टूडेंट्स वो सीखेंगे, कभी नहीं। आप पढ़ाओगे, दिस इज समवन से, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर, टीचिंग इज होपिंग फॉर द बेस्ट।
Yes, sir.
Right, you provide your help and allow the learner, and that if you do that, that will bring lot kind of frustrations in you and the students also. This will not
Right, right, sir.
build any kind of positive
Because the
result.
first
So
two videos of yours were very effective.
yes,
Like
that's why.
students can concentrate for us a particular time.
Right.
They cannot go full day or go
Right.
online on that.
That's what I'm saying. Even if, and you could see the frustration in of the teacher, who
Yes, sir.
go to the extent of taking the student out from the classroom. But what was the effect? Did
Right.
the child learn? No. So these kind of reflective thought, thinking we can do as teachers, and probably we can also promote this kind of thinking in children. That I could not show you that one thing. I can probably read from this thing, or I can give the reference. This is page number 276 of this book, Daniel Goldman's book. Right, if you are interested, please read. There is a school which has experimented the spotlight poster. There is red light, yellow light, and green light. In red light, what you have to do: stop, calm down, and think before you act. Yellow light, say the problem and how you feel. Third step, set a positive goal. Fourth step, think of lots of solutions. Fifth, think ahead of the consequences. And finally, green light, go ahead and try the best plan. So if the teacher had reflected, suppose if I ask the student to go out from my classroom, what will happen? Will it lead to any kind of result? Rather, it demands some kind of different intervention from the teacher. So this kind of, and to make it a part of the student's behavior, this school they put it I think you will not be able to see it. This is page number 276 of Daniel Goldman's book Emotional Intelligence 1995. You can read this book. This is a very wonderful book. This will be very helpful for you as a person or as a professional. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Renu ma'am.
So, it was a very interactive session. And
Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Gopal. You have catered to a very important aspect of being human. And it is said when awareness is brought to an emotion, power is brought to your life. And that is what you have done in the teachers right now. Because the amount of questions they had, they were just pouring in. Even I had a question, the teacher should be specially trained for this.
Yes. Yes. I think we can have something on that. That is important because
That is,
many of the time our actions are due to ignorance.
yeah,
I'm not saying that I am also ignorant on certain things. So I'm not saying that someone who is ignorant at point A can remain ignorant at point B. He can learn.
yeah, true.
Yes.
So, and I could see a lot of appreciation and compliment rather than questions. They were agreeing to you. They were saying yes. This is they were reflecting, and you clearly highlighted how to bring about social emotional learning. And I'm sure the teachers must have benefited from this, and they are going to embed in their own teaching learning process. It was indeed a very reflective, interactive session. We were retrospecting, we were reflecting, we were thinking about our own students. And then you said about online, how much time a child can be attentive online. That is what I was reflecting. And all the other teachers, I'm sure, must be doing that. Thank you for such a wonderful session, sir. And at a phone call. That is
Thank you
very, very
so.
important.
Thank you so
And I would
much. Yes.
And I would like to thank Nadeem sir, always as always. Every time he helps me for all the help and for all the technical support he gives me. And thank you, dear participants. I feel this was a very interactive session and a session that will help you to reflect on your own teaching and bring about better. As sir has already mentioned, it is not only cognitive development, it is human part that has to be catered to. So with that note, I end and thank you, Dr. Gopal. It was really very useful.
Thank you, Renuji, for inviting me for this webinar, for having me here on this platform. Thank you very much, dear participants. I think your questions are very relevant, very important, and this could help us to think more on the topic because a topic is never exhaustive. Any topic we can discover new meanings in new situations. This topic was there, but the COVID time has made it more relevant. The time through which all of us we are going, this is more relevant, more important that we become mindful about the social, emotional, mental health of children, of everyone, for our friends, for whoever you come across. If you are a person who are able to see the symptoms, please help people. That's something which is more important. Education will come little later. When there is good health, there will be education. So, thank you everyone for being there, for your questions, and for participating in the webinar. Thanks a lot, Nadeem ji, for helping me, navigating through the Zoom.
Pleasure,
And
sir.
thanks a lot, organizers, and
Thank you.
most importantly, Renu. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks all for attending. Thank you.